Good morning. The special meeting of the Cook County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Beavers? Here. Commissioner Butler? Commissioner Collins? Here. Commissioner Daly? Here. Commissioner Fritchie? Commissioner Gaynor? Commissioner Garcia? Here. Commissioner Gorman? Here. Commissioner Goslin? Commissioner Murphy? Here. Commissioner Reyes? Commissioner Schneider? Here. Commissioner Silvestri? Here. Commissioner Sims?
Thank you.
Commissioner Steele? Commissioner Sufferton? Commissioner Tobolsky? Here. President Preckwinkle.
Thank you.
We have a quorum.
Clerk informs me that there is a quorum present. Commissioner Garcia will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please add Commissioner Gaynor to the roll?
Yes.
And the clerk please read the call to meeting.
Toni Preckwinkle, President of the Board of Commissioners of Cook County, has directed me to call a special meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Cook County on Thursday, October 18, 2012, at the hour of 11:30 a.m. in the County Boardroom, Room 569, County Building, 118 North Clark Street, Chicago, Illinois. At said meeting, the executive budget for fiscal year 2013 will be presented to the Cook County Board of Commissioners. Very truly yours, David Orr, County Clerk.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Before I begin my budget address, I want to thank all of my staff for their hard work over the past year, and in particular their hard work in preparing our budget. I want to acknowledge particularly the good work of my Chief of Staff, Kurt Summers, and Andrea Gibson and all of her team in the budget office. We're grateful to you. And to Jesse Neves for writing my speech. I'm here today to present my fiscal year 2013 budget. 2 years ago, we began to chart a new course for Cook County. And it's the result of our work that we have solved for nearly $1 billion in deficits since taking office. But our work is far from over. I come to you today with another challenge. This year, we started with a $268 million deficit due to declining health revenues, effects of the sales tax increase rollback, debt service, and rising labor costs. In short, we have structural problems that demand structural solutions. I have a vision for this county, and it's shaped by 4 key principles: fiscal responsibility, innovative leadership, transparency and accountability, and improved services. But it all starts with fiscal responsibility. When we walked in the door on December 6, 2010, a week into the first quarter of the fiscal year, with a deficit of almost $500 million, and more importantly, no budget or no plan for one. That's why, once we got over the considerable hurdles of preparing our first budget, we immediately went to work to establish a more effective and transparent and accountable budget process. I issued an executive order which established a timeline to ensure that the county more effectively engages the public in the budget process and produces a balanced budget before the end of the previous fiscal year and the start of the new one. We established a countywide system of performance management, a system called STAR, Set Targets, Achieve Results. For the first time, the county has a forum in which departments and separately elected officials can work together to set priorities, identify opportunities, address problems, and measure performance. Already this year, there have been over 30 performance management review sessions. In those sessions, county leadership has identified and implemented over 175 action items to improve operations and increase collaboration between offices. To date, our performance management initiatives have led to tens of millions of dollars in either increased revenue or decreased costs to taxpayers in fiscal year 2012. Starting this year, the performance management program will work with agencies to use performance management as a tool, including facilitating internal goal setting, training, and monitoring. Balancing the budget is not a goal in and of itself. It's the first step in establishing a set of priorities which will allow us to transform government. To that end, the budget that I present to you today is more than a financial document. It's a policy plan. It's a plan for the future of our county. We're paying for this plan first with cuts in spending. In order to transform government, we have to ensure that we live within our means, and that should start at the top. As my husband continues to remind me, one of my first actions was to cut my own salary by 10%. Since taking office, I've cut the county's operating budget by over $100 million. To date, we've reduced both the number of positions by over 2,400, as well as the head count by roughly 1,500. This year, we've made $51 million in cuts and eliminated 462 positions, including taking vacant positions off our books. The cuts we've made are a direct result of our continued commitment to collaboration with other separately elected officials and with our labor unions. We've also been able to realize expenditure reductions by demanding greater efficiency, such as reducing our electricity and gas usage, terminating unnecessary leases, consolidating real estate, and implementing a shared vehicle pool. Government leaders at every level are finding that they have to do more with less, and Cook County is no exception. However, as we evaluate the county's commitment to fiscal responsibility, we must not lose sight of the need for long-term investments to cut waste, raise productivity, and produce savings. Let me give you some of our top examples. In order to curb government wastefulness, our plan includes a proposal to lease some of our underused office space. On the 34th and 35th floor of the Dunn Building, 69 West Washington, across the street, there are palatial yet underused offices with incredible city views. I've got an office on the 35th floor. Some of my younger staff members say it's bigger than their first apartments. I've been over there a handful of times. I don't need this space. And rather than having it just sit there, we're going to invest in upgrading it so it can be used by other tenants, rented out as a potential revenue opportunity for the county. We're installing GPS systems on all our highway vehicles. We've all heard the stories. Employees of the county taking naps or driving off on personal errands or long lunches. Now we'll be able to track each vehicle to increase productivity, better track snow removal, and reduce excess fuel costs. We're also investing in an electronic case management system at the Board of Review. No longer will you be able to go up to the 6th floor and see rows and rows of paper files stacked in the hallways. By investing in an enterprise case management system, we will create a more effective workflow process to eliminate inefficiencies and provide better tracking than the previous paper-based system. And because of our commitment to automation, earlier this year, thanks to Treasurer Maria Pappas's leadership, we were able to implement a unified property tax website. No longer will residents have to go from floor to floor in this building, from office to office, in order to handle their property tax issues. Instead, it can be done online. And we're making a capital investment in our unincorporated areas. Back in April, the group of experts that I assembled to investigate the provision of services to the county's unincorporated areas put forth a long-term goal for the county: the complete elimination of unincorporated areas. This is obviously no small task. Our unincorporated areas range dramatically in terms of geography, size, and socioeconomic makeup. Therefore, when we talk about the potential annexation with adjacent areas, we face a challenge: infrastructure. In many cases, there simply aren't the resources necessary to make the infrastructure upgrades to facilitate annexation. That's why today I'm announcing the creation of a $5 million unincorporated Cook Infrastructure Improvement Fund to allow municipalities to apply for matching funding to complete the necessary infrastructure improvements. In short, what we're talking about is a different kind of responsibility, one that invests in the long-term financial future of our county and its residents. Our priority will always be to look first at where we can cut. I know that for most of our residents and businesses, the state of the economy remains the issue that weighs most heavily on their minds. That's why I stand by my commitment to complete the rollback of the Stroger Sales Tax increase. There will always be those who say that this is not the time to reduce possible sources of revenue. But I remain fully committed to this course of action. I'm confident that this is the right choice for Cook County, for our residents, for our families, for our businesses. This year alone, the sales tax reduction saves $86 million for Cook County taxpayers. The final portion of the rollback is only a few months away, and when it takes effect, January 1st, 2013, we will have saved Cook County taxpayers over $440 million. But cutting isn't always enough. The revenue priorities I recommend today were carefully thought through to capture only those select items that directly affect our core services. By increasing the cigarette tax by $1, we will bring in $25 million to help to continue to fund our public health care system. As the leading provider of public health services in our region, I believe that if you choose to smoke, you should have a hand in paying for the health care consequences of your decisions. Additionally, the county will be implementing a gambling machine tax. These machines generate $800 a day, and we're asking for $800 per year. They keep their other 364 days of revenue. We use that one day's revenue to help mitigate the impact of the associated costs of crime, health, and addiction. We're also proposing a 5-cent per round of ammunition and a $25 tax on firearms. The violence in Cook County is devastating. Devastating to individuals who are the victims of gun violence, devastating to our communities. And the wide availability of ammunition only exacerbates the problem. 29%, almost a third, of the illegal guns used in crimes and recovered by the Chicago Police Department were purchased legally in Cook County. This violence has a real impact on our healthcare system. Acute trauma care for a shooting victim costs $52,000. And 70% of shooting victims have no insurance. In the last year, 670 shooting victims were treated in our healthcare system at an enormous cost. Let me say again, every revenue measure that I call for is targeted. It's responsible, and it's focused on supporting the services we provide. Consider this. In every budget, we've reduced the overall tax burden for Cook County residents. This year alone, we have reduced taxes for everyone by twice as much as we've selectively raised them. In doing so, we have incrementally raised the price on items like cigarettes, guns, and gambling machines in order to continue to lower the price on milk, toothpaste, and other necessities. During this process, we also look to the state and the city of Chicago to identify areas in which the county's policies or practices have fallen behind. And unlike either the state or the city, the county had no measure in place to incent individuals and businesses to choose other local businesses for their purchases. As a result, major goods are still being purchased outside of Cook County. That's why this year we have introduced a non-titled use tax to encourage businesses to buy their goods in Cook County. Furthermore, we've included a credit covering property valued up to $2,500. Our policy here is straightforward. If you're a business and you choose not to support other local businesses in your area, that is to support our local economy, you will have to pay a little more. There's another way that the county is committed to supporting our local business communities. We know that economic development is critical. One of my first objectives as president was to strengthen and expand the capacity of the county to engage in meaningful economic development. We created a Bureau of Economic Development, and we've spearheaded efforts to help small businesses gain access to capital and improve the capacity for growth, as well as reducing the barriers to entry to county business. We're committed to making it easier for businesses in Cook County and to do business with Cook County. The county spends approximately $1.2 billion annually on goods and services. We have the ability to shape markets and to build capacity for businesses. As part of this budget, we are proposing that the county's local preferences on bids increase from 2 to 5% in order to promote and support our local businesses and incent other businesses to relocate to Cook County. We are overhauling our procurement system in order to avoid unnecessary delays, provide clarity, and eliminate redundancies and inconsistencies. We've launched a $200 million partnership, the Small Business Financing Initiative, to bring together a group of leading financial institutions to build relationships with small, minority, and women-owned businesses doing business in Cook County. As a result of our performance management initiative, we are now paying vendors more quickly than ever. When I walked in the door, it took an average of 64 days for a vendor to receive payment. We've cut that down to 37 days in the last 2 years, and in this budget we're using an investment in technology to bring that number down to 7 for the process within our controller's office. And in response to the concerns that we've been hearing from subcontractors waiting for their payments, we've made it a requirement that prime contractors pay their subs within 14 days of receiving payment. In this economy, we can't afford for businesses to wait more than a month to get paid, or worse, for businesses to take a pass on bidding on county work. It is only because of our fiscal discipline, because of our continual push to make things more effective and more efficient in this tough economic time, that we continue to invest in services that are at the core of our mission, public safety and public health. I want to start with public safety. When it comes to our efforts around the Juvenile Temporary Detention Center, the JTDC, I'll be blunt. I want as few kids in our juvenile jail as possible. With that goal in mind, and thanks to the hard work of the juvenile justice stakeholders in Cook County, we've successfully reduced the number of kids detained in the Juvenile Temporary Detention Center. It costs $600 a day to keep a kid there. And many of these young people could be served better in other settings. We've worked collaboratively to expand community-based alternatives to detention so that youth who don't pose a risk to public safety can have their needs met in other settings. This year we've been able to reduce the population by approximately 50 kids. We started out the year with about 300 young people in our JTDC. We're now down below 250. Our goal is to continue the reduction by another 50 in order to permanently close one of the centers at the JTDC. Our other major public safety investment revolves around our bond court system. I've personally been to bond court. I encourage those of you who haven't to go there. It's truly a disheartening experience. On one occasion when I was there, I saw 2 17-year-olds charged with minor drug offenses. Their bond was set at $2,000, which means they had to post $200 in cash. But they had no family or friends in the courtroom. And you immediately saw that neither of them had the money themselves. And just like that, their lives were changed forever. The overwhelming majority of people in the Cook County Jail are awaiting trial. They've not yet been convicted of any crime. Of those, the vast majority have the opportunity to post bail. It's far too expensive in Cook County to house defendants just because they are too poor to make their bond. We pay $143 a day to keep somebody in jail. So within a matter of days, we're paying more to detain them than their actual bond. As a result, I've asked the Justice Advisory Council to conduct a 6-month comprehensive study on the operation of our bond courts and pretrial services, pulling together recommendations from a cross-section of public safety stakeholders. They've completed their work. You can read their report and see their findings and recommendations. And you can see in this budget our commitment to making those recommendations a reality. If you want to understand bond court, as I said earlier, I encourage you to go. Over the next few months, I think you'll see some dramatic changes there. We're working to screen people eligible for alternatives to detention out of the system at every step of the process. In order to get eligible individuals out of the system earlier, we're working with the state's attorney, and I'm grateful to her for her cooperation, in order to ensure that the necessary resources are available to begin screening for eligibility for alternative sentencing and deferred prosecution on site at bond court. We're also moving forward with a motion to reconsider court call, a motion to reconsider court call, so that in cases in which a low bond has been given but has not been met, can receive a second review and the opportunity for a more appropriate bond amount. We are providing resources to make more information more readily available. We've invested in additional personnel. Staff will work with the Stafer Foundation to review old cases where the terms of bond may be revised. 2 new public defenders and an investigator will be hired to meet the demands of incoming cases. The additional investment in looking at all of our defendants more carefully means the judge will rely less on pretrial detention, so that we can work to ensure that those individuals are not unnecessarily detained and disrupt any treatment, for example, that they might be receiving. And finally, instead of being crammed in a bullpen with as many as 100 other individuals, all of whom can hear every word that you're saying, we've invested in a larger, more humane space for pretrial detainees that allows for private conversations with their attorneys. Now, I can't talk about our Cook County Health and Hospital System without talking about its Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Ram Raju. Last year at this time, he experienced a baptism of fire, coming on board in the middle of the budget process. Since then, he has proven himself to be an invaluable asset to our healthcare system. We are all dependent on his insight, experience, and leadership. With the Affordable Care Act on the horizon, the landscape of healthcare is changing dramatically and quickly. And just last year, the health and hospital system provided over $500 million of uncompensated care to a patient population with a high percentage of complex, serious illnesses. What Dr. Raju continually reminds me is that our patients have a multiple set of challenges they face and are very, very expensive to treat. I made a commitment to the taxpayers of Cook County to evaluate and streamline the costs of health care. Working directly with Dr. Raju, we've maintained the county subsidy at $254 million, the same as last year. At the same time, outside of our investment in the 1115 waiver, we've reduced expenditures by $27 million and dramatically improved our billing practices. It was historically the case in Cook County that we did not bill, for example, for physician services, in contrast to everybody else in the healthcare system. This last year, our focus on physician billing resulted in $4 million in revenue, and it's projected to increase to $13 million next year. I made a promise to the staff, and more importantly the patients in our healthcare system, to firmly protect the quality and sustainability of our healthcare services. Without a doubt, our greatest achievement has been the 1115 waiver application. After trips to Springfield and Washington, D.C., Dr. Raju and I had countless meetings and conversations with members of our Illinois delegation and the Obama administration. The 1115 waiver is within our reach. We expect action in the next couple of weeks. Granted by the federal government, this program allows us to early enroll 100,000 patients who will be eligible for Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act in January of 2014. This brings in $99 million this year in net revenue to treat the patients we're already treating, but for whom we have previously received no reimbursement. But in addition to the financial argument, there's a more powerful one. It means we provide better health care. This is an historic opportunity for us. Now we must shape a system of health care, not sick care, centered on the patient, not the doctor. We are building a system focused on preventive care to provide patients, many for the first time, with a primary care doctor responsible for their wellness. Dr. Raju calls it a medical home, and I can't think of a more fitting term. I remember an example Dr. Raju has shared with us on many occasions about people who come into the emergency room for basic primary care, like a headache. When the patient comes into an emergency room with a headache, they are taken through a series of complicated, expensive tests, starting with a CAT scan. The approach of an emergency room physician is to start with the worst case scenario and work down. But a primary care doctor starts in exactly the opposite place. Symptoms are watched and treated over days. This is a better scenario both for our healthcare system, because it avoids unnecessary and expensive tests, and for our patients, who receive better, more personalized treatment. But it's not enough. We must create a true county-wide system of care, encompassing hospitals and clinics and directly engaging with communities and neighborhoods. It's a tremendous amount of work, but Dr. Raju and I are committed to it. And in 5 years, we will have shaped a system in which every county resident will have access to quality primary care and specialty care. The success of Cook County Health and Hospital System is in all of our interests. I know there were some who will question our commitment because they don't personally use our healthcare system. Maybe you don't use our system, but what about the person sitting next to you on the train, or serving you food at the restaurant, or even just walking by you on the sidewalk? Illness doesn't discriminate. It's not limited by race or class or geography. The only way to keep yourself healthy in the long run is to ensure that everyone has the ability to keep themselves healthy. This is more than just a healthcare issue. It's also an economic development issue. A healthy workforce is a productive workforce. The only way to ensure that we have economically vibrant communities is to ensure that we also have healthy ones. And the impact goes beyond our healthcare system alone. Our healthcare system is considered a safety net provider, meaning we provide for the uninsured and the underinsured. The reality is this: we are the safety net for the entire healthcare system in Cook County. If our healthcare system fails, the entire healthcare delivery system as we know it goes down with us. This is because our patients don't simply go away. They go to other hospitals. Hospitals that historically have been unwilling to cover the extensive costs associated with our patient population. Hospitals that have been unwilling to treat our patients. So this is what we can and must do. We have an opportunity. We can ensure the long-term financial sustainability and the provisions of a healthcare system that never closes its doors and that provides true universal coverage. The heart of this budget plan deals with the long term. For far too long, short-term solutions were selected over long-term investments, and the failure to look beyond the next payment, the next quarter, or the next budget only eroded our resources. It's because of our financial discipline that we have an unsurpassed opportunity to address the recurring challenges facing our pension system. Right now, it all comes down to Springfield. But we know what it will take to get there, and when Springfield is ready, we will be ready. But we must have the tools to do so. That's why we've met with every single one of our unions. We've laid out a full set of options. We know the cost of every variable and how each of those variables might contribute to a solution. It's why we were consciously conservative with our revenue initiatives, conservative in our expenditure cuts, why we didn't rely on any additional debt restructuring. 2 years ago, the county's fund balance had been allowed to dwindle to $61 million. Over the last 2 years, we've increased our fund balance to almost $200 million, $197 million. In addition, in the previous administration, the county borrowed $750 million, largely to fund potential capital improvement projects. Quite simply, this was not advisable for a government with a $3 billion budget. It's only with the comprehensive assessment that you can begin to effectively control and reduce spending. We imposed a moratorium on all non-essential capital projects and service contracts. We conducted a comprehensive case-by-case review and prioritization of these projects. The result was our capital improvement plan. It created a new system focused on program management and allowing the county and the public to clearly identify projects by location, operating agency, and category. 2 years ago, I stood before you and promised to chart a new direction for Cook County. The most fundamental change is the focus on the future. As I said at the beginning, structural problems demand structural solutions, and this budget is 99% structural solutions. Today, as I said, the county's fund balance stands at $200 million. We're committed not only to sustaining but to growing it, and our budget shows that. This is a widely recognized best practice because our financial reserves are critical to provide a buffer against future economic uncertainty, to ensure that we pay our vendors promptly, and protect our credit rating. As part of this budget, we've composed Cook County financial policies, which include policies for budgeting, revenues, capital, debt management, investment management, financial reporting, and performance management. These policies express the county's commitment to maintaining internal controls, safeguarding assets, and meeting our financial responsibilities for Cook County taxpayers. Our continuous emphasis on expenditure reduction, coupled with efficiencies brought through structural changes, will help the county to sustain the general fund balance for the near future. We must be responsible stewards of the taxpayers' funds during this time of economic uncertainty. Over the last 2 years, we've launched a campaign to reinvent county government. And as a result, the county is stronger than it has been. And we've seen what we can do when we work together. We strengthened our economic development efforts, including rolling back the Stroger Sales Tax increase. We instituted performance-based management to demand more accountability from our operations and our employees. We focused on critical public safety reform, and we worked to strengthen our healthcare system while reducing the subsidy from the county. We've conquered what, at the time, might have seemed to others to be insurmountable challenges. But we persevered because we share a vision of the great potential of this county. The plan I've laid out for you today is about what government can do, because I believe in government, and I believe that government needs to do more. This plan to balance our budget also includes investments in our residents. We are tackling both the immediate concerns and enabling long-term investments without ever losing sight of the fact that it all starts with fiscal responsibility. But I can't do this without you. So today I issue a call to action by this board and by our separately elected officials. We must work together. The residents of this county elected all of us. And we must be committed to a new kind of county government, one that not only addresses immediate concerns, but supports the investments that shape our future. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Chairman Daley.
Madam President, Pursuant to the laws of the State of Illinois, Chapter 55, Article 6, I move the 2013 executive budget for Cook County as submitted by the Office of the President be referred to the Committee on Finance.
It's been moved by Chairman Daley and seconded by Commissioner Sims that the executive budget for Cook County be referred to the Committee on Finance. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying... It's been seconded by Commissioner Sims. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. The Chair will entertain a motion from Commissioner
So moved,
Daley.
Madam President. Move that we suspend the rules to take up all new items.
All right, it's been moved by Chairman Daley and seconded by Commissioner Sims that we suspend the rules to take up all new items. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All right, Chairman Daley, you're...
Madam President, I move that we refer new items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 to the Finance Committee.
It's been moved by Chairman Daley and seconded by Commissioner Sims that we refer all new items 1 through 11 to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. Chairman Daley.
Move to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Would the clerk please add Commissioner Reyes to the roll? All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Opposed? Opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. Thank you.
No, we had the motion. Good afternoon. I'll do it from here, Madam President. Good afternoon. The Finance Committee of the Cook County Board will come to order, and the Secretary will please call the roll.
Commissioner Beavers? Here. Commissioner Butler? Here. Commissioner Collins? Commissioner Fritchie? Here. Commissioner Gaynor? Here. Commissioner Garcia? Here. Commissioner Gorman? Here. Commissioner Goslin? Is absent. Commissioner Murphy? Here. Commissioner Reyes? Here. Commissioner Schneider? Here. Commissioner Silvestri? Vice Chairman Sims? Here. Commissioner Steele? Commissioner Suffredin? Is absent. Commissioner Tobolski? Chairman Daley?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Mr. Secretary, will you please read the notice into the record? Brian?
There will be a meeting of the Finance Committee of the Board of Commissioners on Thursday, October 18th, 2012, at the hour of 12:15 p.m. in the boardroom, room 569, County Building, 118 North Clark Street, Chicago, Illinois, to consider the 2013 executive budget being made available for public inspection and the schedule of meetings for the purpose of conducting hearings on said budget and proposed revenue ordinances. Additional information about the proposed 2013 budget recommendation and proposed revenue ordinances is available at www.cookcountyil.gov.
In accordance with the laws of the State of Illinois, the 2013 executive budget recommendations and the proposed revenue ordinance have been submitted by the President to the Committee of Finance. This committee will consider the proposed budgets and revenue ordinances, offer any amendments, and conclude its work with the recommendation that the Board of Commissioners approve and adopt the 2013 annual appropriation ordinance for Cook County. In order to provide the citizens of Cook County with an opportunity to participate in the process of adopting an annual budget, we have scheduled 4 public hearings at locations throughout the county. To assist the Finance Committee in its analysis of the proposed budget, we have scheduled a series of department reviews. Elected officials and department heads will appear before the committee to present their spending plan for 2013 and to answer any questions from the committee members. The schedule for department reviews is posted on the Cook County website and will be updated frequently. Please refer to it for any changes. During the department review, any questions submitted in writing from commissioners will be posted on the county website, and the department heads are also asked to respond immediately. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this suggestion. And commissioners, this is a new idea, and I know it's many times during your process as a department head or elected official, you come up with questions that you submit, but we're asking that someone from your department, from your office, submit them in writing. The Secretary will now read the revised notice of public hearings into the record.
The Finance Committee of the Board of Commissioners of Cook County has scheduled the meetings listed for the purpose of conducting public hearings on the proposed 2013 executive budget and proposed revenue ordinances. The Cook County Health and Hospital System previously conducted 3 separate public hearings on the health system's preliminary budget. The following hearings are Thursday, October 25th, 2012, 6:30 p.m., 2nd District Courthouse, 5600 Old Orchard Road, Conference Room 201, Skokie, Illinois. Friday, October 26, 2012, 9 a.m., the Cook County Building, 118 North Clark Street, Boardroom, Room 569, Chicago, Illinois. Tuesday, October 30th, 2012, 6:30 p.m., 6th District Courthouse, 16501 South Kedzie Parkway, Courtroom 098, Markham, Illinois. Thursday, November 1st, 2012, 6:30 p.m., 4th District Courthouse, 1500 South Maybrook Drive, Courtroom 106, Maywood, Illinois. The public may testify at these meetings. Persons wishing to testify should go to the Secretary to the Board website at www.cookcountyil.gov/secretary to register as a public speaker. You may also register over the telephone at area code 312-603-6127 or in person at 118 North Clark Street, room 436, Chicago, Illinois. You can register at any of the locations listed above at the time of the meeting as well. Each organization will be limited to one speaker. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers are requested to submit 30 copies of any written statement to the committee prior to speaking.
Department budget review will begin on October the 22nd at 9 a.m. with the Bureau of Finance. We have scheduled 7 days of department hearings scheduled with 2 extra reserve days if necessary. A printed schedule has been distributed, and any changes to the schedule will be posted on the county's website. For your convenience, there is a new button on the home page called Button Hearings Scheduled. Mr. Secretary, could you please announce the dates of the department budget review?
The Finance Committee of the Board of Commissioners of Cook County has scheduled the meetings listed below in the boardroom, room 569 County Building, 118 North Clark Street, Chicago, Illinois, for the purpose of conducting departmental reviews on the proposed 2013 executive budget. Changes and updates to this schedule will be posted on www.cookcountyil.gov. Monday, October 22nd, 2012 at 9 a.m. all day. Tuesday, October 23rd, 2012, 9 a.m. all day. Wednesday, October 24th, 2012, 9 a.m. all day. Thursday, October 25th, 2012 at 9 a.m. all day. Friday, October 26th, 2012, 1 p.m. afternoon only. Monday, October 29th, 2012, 9 a.m. all day. Tuesday, October 30th, 2012, 9 a.m. all day. And Wednesday, October 31st, 2012 at noon, afternoon only. In the event that additional time is required beyond the scheduled days, the reserved days are as follows: Thursday, November 1st, 2012, 1 p.m., which is afternoon only, and Friday, November 2nd, 2012, 9 a.m., which would be all day.
Vice Chairman Sims.
Move approval. No, which one am I? Oh.
No.
Where am I? Oh, Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the revised notice of the public hearings on the subject of the 2013 executive budget recommendations as proposed in the revenue ordinance.
It's been moved by Vice Chairman Sims.
I second it.
By Commissioner Murphy to accept the revised notice of public hearings on the subject of the 2013 executive budget and the proposed revenue ordinances. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has been carried. This committee will stand in.
Really?
Any questions?
Commissioner Collins has a question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Collins.
I have a question, and that's, have we always required 30 copies of written testimony in the past? 30?
Have we required what?
30.
Matt?
That's
yes,
a lot
that
of
is my
copies.
understanding.
That has always been part of our notice. It's a request of the presenter. It's not a requirement.
Okay, thank